Good afternoon and welcome to Match of the Day, in which we follow the personalities as well as the teams. We start with the team of the moment, Ipswich playing Everton at Goodison Park. We then follow Southampton's record-breaking attempt at Birmingham, now that Kevin Keegan is back in the thick of things, in the way that Laurie McMenemy visualised all along. And we end with a special look at the performances of two of England's brightest hopes for the future, Graham Rix and Glenn Hoddle, from the classic London derby, Tottenham v Arsenal.
And we believe Arsenal are, at the moment, looking into ways of bringing one of the greatest players of all time to Highbury. News coming up of that, the transfer request of Middlesbrough's David Armstrong, and the latest on the Crystal Palace saga.
Well, it wasn't the best of weather for football yesterday, and bearing in mind the problems early season rain had caused Lancashire groundsmen, Everton's game against Ipswich could have been at risk. But it survived and gave the players the chance to ignore the conditions and entertain. And I think you'll agree that they did. Your commentator, David Coleman.
During hours of incessant rain, the ground staff at Goodison Park have been hard at work with pitchforks since early morning. And their efforts mean the pitch is playable, but the conditions made even worse with a wind that's gusting at gale force at times. Everton's team shows that Eamon O'Keefe keeps the number 11 shirt after a goal in a good game and the losing match against Arsenal last week, which means that Joe McBride has to be happy with being sub. But there is an important change in defence. John Gidman is injured, and the club captain Mike Lyons returns for his first full game for 10 weeks after knee trouble, although he has, of course, been on the subs bench for 5 matches. Lyons should be seeing a lot this afternoon of Paul Mariner, the Ipswich striker, who's the current leader of the England attack. And Mariner has scored a goal in each of the last 3 matches against Everton. The Ipswich lineup shows they're back at full strength, with Eric Gates returning after being suspended for 2 matches, and O'Callaghan, who deputised for him so well, is now the number 12. And by the way, Ipswich have lost only twice in the league this season. The referee, Malcolm Heath of Stoke-on-Trent, who inspected the pitch at 1 o'clock, decided it could be played on, talking to Paul Mariner, relaxing the players, and it will be Everton to kick off. Everton, who lost their last 3 league matches, dropped from 6th to 10th. Ipswich with 9 points out of a possible 10 in their last 5 games. Very much the team in form, and beat Birmingham 5-1 in midweek to go top of the table. George Burley with the throw. He only found Hartford. Played back, McMahon wasn't firm enough, and Walk took it quite easily. Billy Wright. Hartford. Good turn by Varady, but good covering as well by Burley. Mills and Cooper, the goalkeeper, the only non-international in the side. Well, the ball skidded awkwardly off the ground there, Brazil, and the goalkeeper had to be brave, low and quick. The ball came very awkwardly off the pitch, skidded forward, and Brazil was quickest to it, but the goalkeeper smartly out, whereas defenders had failed, and he was there. Tyson to Mills. On to Tyson again. Oh, he did well again, Mariner. And right out of the mouth of the goal by Kevin Ratcliffe, the centre-back. Ratcliffe, only 20, coming back there. Mariner spun on that, the ball flying into the empty goal, and there was Ratcliffe to knock it away. Michael Mills having trouble down there with wind and mud. Hit that one truly. And Osman was penalised. Bailey for Everton. This is Hartford. Appeal for offside, not given this time, is McMahon. Mills in the way. Lyons and Billy Wright, the 2 defenders who come up with the attack. And Wright got there. Well, the defender touched it as well, so another corner to Everton. Taken by Ross. This time Lyons made the run. And the angle was almost impossible for O'Keefe. away, and Mills again. Wolf only gave it to Verratti, who was trying to find Walk. Now this is Ross. Right up on the outside, number 4. Oh, knocked away by Birdie. Right behind him was O'Keefe. This is McMahon. Oh! Brilliant save by Paul Cooper. But what a tremendous shot by the youngster. He's got 3 goals this season. If he hit balls like that, well, that was a tremendous shot. He really got hold of it, and Cooper down so fast and did well to hold it. Ratcliffe's header, picked up by Tyson. Oh, for what happened then? Lyons seemed to stop. He must have heard a whistle, and he stopped. Burley came screaming up at the back, and Lyons stopped. Now, well, he obviously thought he heard the whistle. He thought something had happened and play had stopped. It hadn't. And if that ball, that cross by Burley, had gone into the net, because McDonough didn't seem to do much about it either, the goalkeeper, it would have stood. And the referee now having a word with Gordon Lee and the Everton bench. And I think there must have been a whistle in the crowd. Well, certainly that would have been most unfortunate for Everton if the ball had gone in the net. Oh, Ratcliffe. That's Walk, now Gates to Birdie. Everton getting players back quickly now. Well, you may be able to hear the announcement in the background. Someone did blow a whistle in the crowd, which put Mike Lyons off. That was Mariner's header, but Mike Lyons' complaint was obviously justified. And it could have been very expensive for Everton. So Mike Lyons complained to the referee, recognised as being just, and that announcement asking someone in the crowd not to use a whistle. Of course, the response has been a chorus of whistles. And now Verratti with a real chance, and it hit Mickey Mills' heels. Oh, Ipswich lucky to escape then. Probably with the public address announcement, the players' concentration going a little bit over the whistle incident. And Verratti had a chance then. And Mickey Mills was lucky because the ball, when Verratti tried to turn it in the back of him, bounced back off Mills' heels. Well, that was the last real attack of a finely contested first half. And we rejoin the game shortly after the break. Murray went hurdling again. Hartford. Eastoe back to Hartford. Good play by Everton. O'Keefe. In the middle is Verratti. And the angle really was too tight to chance a shot. The cross might have been better, but O'Keefe showed a lot of confidence then and apologises now to Verratti. The shot was well struck, but Cooper perfectly positioned. Tyson checking back. Birdie. Taking on Verratti, and surely obstruction. Henry Verratti, all of Hungarian parents in this country. Birdie with the kick. Osman arriving on the scene late, but it never got there. Muren! Plucked out of the air with supreme ease and confidence by McDonough. Muren really tanked that with his left foot. McDonough took it very cleanly. White. By Birdie, now Eastoe, and cleared by Brazil. Back to Everton again. McMahon to number 3, Bailey. Oh, well headed away by Butcher. Bailey. Well, in the course of well over 100 games, Bailey's never been on the score sheet more than twice for Everton, but he was on the way then, and even the referee enjoyed it. Because conditions are very tricky. Mills. Mariner only led it to Hartford. Asa Hartford, been with West Bromwich, then Manchester City, briefly with Nottingham Forest, and arrived here at a cost of £400,000. Hartford again. All seems to be threading through him. Ratcliffe. Tyson. Very easily taken out, and very nicely stunned too. Burley. Gates and Ratcliffe. And Gates, well, it broke for him to Brazil. And the ball finally goes loose to the goalkeeper, McDonough. The referee might well have penalised Gates then, who appeared to jump at the player, Ratcliffe, and gained the advantage as a result. Mirror didn't know where it had gone, but it found Brazil. Gates. Burley. Tyson. Brazil. All too complicated, too close. What a good player this number 7, Steve McMahon, is. At 19, he really is playing so well in the midfield. Bailey. Eastoe. All well stopped by Osman. Gates. Wide is Mariner. Really enjoyed much space so far. Looking for the space for the shot this time. And the policing player was Mickey Lyons. Back in the side, and is so solid in defence and so influential as well. And Lyons was injured then in the tackle. And don't forget, this is his first game for 10 weeks, full game. He had knee trouble, but this time the thigh is being looked at. Gordon Lee will be anxious not to lose Lyons in this match, and his availability next week, of course, in the cup tie against Liverpool. Lyons just flexing the damaged leg. Burley's header, Mariner. Hartford got it to O'Keefe. And again, Cooper so clearly with his handling. Well, Hartford there nipped in very, very quickly to play the ball short to O'Keefe. O'Keefe took on the defenders, but once again, Cooper right in the right place. Russell Osman for Ipswich. Bailey. Ratcliffe. Bailey. McMahon. O'Keefe. Very elusive. Oh, there was a ricochet there, an appeal for hands, and the referee ignored it. O'Keefe, of course, scored that storming goal against Arsenal from a long way out last week, got hold of that one. He really is brave in the way he attacks defences. He's not afraid to take them on. The shot was well hit. It was touched on the way through, and hands claimed Everton. Over 25,500 in the ground. And Joe McBride, the man of keepers, replaced to the side to come on for the last few minutes to see if he can win the match for Everton. Applause for O'Keefe. Signed from the non-league club Mossley in 1979 when he was 26 for only £25,000. Deserves the pat on the back. Butcher found Mariner. The back pass wasn't hit. Ross to Verratti. Butcher again. Lyons. Both sides so aware that one goal now will certainly settle it. 5 minutes to go. Hartford. On to McMahon. All right in there. McBride, his first touch, and he was stopped by Osman. Powered back in by Mick Lyons. And the captain sets an example. And Paul Cooper smiles back at Mick Lyons. Two pros admiring each other's work. Lyons really drove that in. And Cooper, as ever, was there again. Ross. Purley. McMahon. It ricocheted away off Billy Wright. Ball knocked around there, dangerously for Ipswich, and they escape. Referee blows the whistle for the last time, and the two teams go off the field without a goal being scored. But my word, they know they've been in a competition. And the sides leave Goodison Park on this difficult day with great respect for each other. The stars undoubtedly for Everton in midfield, Asa Hartford and the talented teenager Steve McMahon. And for Ipswich, surely Paul Cooper for some immaculate goalkeeping.
Well, a most competitive game, and it's such a pity that one idiot with a whistle can risk spoiling the enjoyment of the majority. Well, now we move to the Midlands for Birmingham City's match against Southampton. And Birmingham are one of those clubs just outside the relegation zone where points are still very precious and necessary. But Southampton were in a more relaxed frame of mind with points to spare and on the brink of equalling a First Division record of 10 consecutive games without defeat. Your commentator, Alan Parry.
Strange kick that by Wells. Dillon underneath it. Well, what about that for an ambitious effort by Dillon? That was really intelligent thinking by Kevin Dillon. A bad goal kick by Peter Wells. He brought it down beautifully, saw that Wells was still several yards off his line and had the confidence and the arrogance to try a shot from, well, I suppose 30 yards, and it was only just over the top. George. Moran. Shannon wants it on the far post, but Moran tries and gets it himself, and what a splendid goal by Steve Moran. His 14th goal in 18 matches. A lovely build-up by Southampton. When Moran received it on the left, Shannon was calling for the ball on the far post, but Moran's got so much confidence at the moment, he hit it himself, and in it went. 1-0. Now Shannon trying his luck on the left, with Keegan on his outside. Shannon wave, and another marvellous goal. Everyone, including Birmingham, thought then that Shannon was going to play the ball to his left. Keegan was waiting. He decided to go it alone, and the shot in the end was devastating. Golak. Watson's header. This is Baker. Keegan in space. Number 3, surely. Yes. Kevin Keegan, who scored his first ever goal for Southampton against Birmingham at the Dell in August, puts the points beyond Birmingham's reach again. Baker, important in the build-up. When he played it through to Keegan, he was in so much space, Birmingham will wonder why he was completely unmarked, and Keegan finishes so well. Birmingham 0, Southampton 3.
Have even more gifts for less this Christmas. So make sure you've got enough wrapping paper. More for you for less. That's Asda price.
Stephen was Mr. Christmas until the competition moved in.
Buddy Hall. Around here, I'm the Christmas guy.
I don't think so. Now they're going head to head for the holidays.
That's gonna swell up.
Deck the halls.
Hey, baby, who's your daddy?
Dad?
Oh, God. I'm your daddy.
My eyes!
Right, been on eBay. Got a shirt for Bert, teddy for Eddie, and a phone for Joan. Now, what about Paul?
A ball.
Wayne?
A game.
Polly?
A dolly.
Jane?
A chain.
Lovely! That just leaves Esmeralda.
Oh. DVD?
So all those baby-faced multi-millionaire sports stars who get paid too much, live in huge houses, have ridiculous haircuts, have never tipped, and will never enter a supermarket again, let alone know the price of milk, just because they kick a ball, we've got news for you. We ain't gonna pay you a penny to wear our product. You can carry on paying us. Skins, bio-acceleration technology.
Because the evolution of the third hand is a bit slow in coming, Black & Decker created the Auto Tape. It's the only powered tape measure, so you can use it with just one hand.
Malibu asks, what if we Caribbeans took life as seriously as the rest of the world?
We should have come early. Now we'll never find a space. Look, that man is going. Hey, I've been waiting hours for that space.
If we took life as seriously as this, then we'd never have invented Malibu. It's seriously easygoing.
There is your ticket. Is your mother proud of you?
Well, now the game that I went to see, the London derby between Tottenham and Arsenal. And Arsenal won the match at Highbury 2-0. And the Tottenham fans would tell you that to turn the tables on their neighbours could mean almost as much to them as winning the cup. That's the sort of local rivalry that provides that extra edge to a game wherever. And your commentator is Barry Davis.
The two skippers this afternoon, two of the game's big little men. Between them, they made over 1,100 league appearances. John Hollins has made his for 3 clubs, but Steve Perryman has been with Tottenham all his career, and during the course of this season could well set a new league appearance record for the club. It's currently held by the opposition's goalkeeper, Pat Jennings, who played here 472 times in league football. And it still rankles with the home supporters that his is the first name on the Arsenal team sheet. And it's an Arsenal side this afternoon which welcomes back Sunderland and Ricks, which is still without Brian Talbot and David O'Leary. No late surprises in the Spurs lineup. Terry Yorath on the transfer list is a substitute, and no place for Ozzy Ardiles, who came back too late from Argentina, in the opinion of the Spurs manager Keith Birkinshaw. And this fixture has been played since season 1909-1910, but this is surely the first time that it's been played in front of a building site. And if the ghosts don't like what they see, let us hope that they approve of the 88th Spurs Arsenal League derby. So Arsenal in search of doing the double over Spurs for the 3rd season running. Spurs haven't beaten their great rivals here since October 1974. A victory which incidentally sent Arsenal to the bottom of the table, and that hasn't happened too often. Steve Archibald, First Division's top scorer, 17. Spurs manager Keith Birkinshaw. Archibald, and up and under, and the wind blowing the other way, as you could see. Lacey. All by the 2 goalkeepers then, sucked into the centre circle. And well by Galvin. Here is Archibald. Huddle far side is the best ball. Here's Perryman. Huddle still available. 4 in the middle. Taken well by Perryman.
And Perryman thought it should have been a penalty. So did the home supporters, but the referee was right on the spot. There has to be intent, and in my opinion there was no intent to bring Perryman down then. Danes well out again. They've all been watching Barota. This is Brook and Hoddle and Archibald. Yes! And that's the first time that Pat Jennings has been beaten as an Arsenal goalkeeper playing against Tottenham. But it really was a delightful ball from Hoddle that found Steve Archibald. Brook who started it, Hoddle on the right, the deftest of crosses, and Archibald making it count with a fine crack. Really lovely ball from Hoddle. And that's his 18th goal of the season, Steve Archibald. Met by Lacey. It's a bit too long. Oh, beautifully taken by Hollins. The win now directly in the face of John Devine. Forward for Alan Sunderland. There's Miller with him. Stapleton's pulled to the far post. Ricks coming on the near. Here he is. Away by Lacey, but not for long. That's McDermott. And the flag up anyway for an offside decision. But Tottenham a bit at 6s and 7s then. It was John Lacey who cleared the real danger. Steve Perryman pointing out the fact that John Lacey is in need of something and has gone off to the bench. Spurs with 10 men for a moment. Maybe for longer, because Terry Yorath is prepared to come on. Ricks. Roberts. Brook. Hoddle, Archibald right side, the other way is Galvin, and the switch was much more effective, or should have been if he could have controlled it. And Terry Yorath comes into the Tottenham side and also to some extent into the shop window as he's on the transfer list with 16 minutes of the match gone. I can only assume that John Lacey stretched something when clearing the Arsenal attack a few seconds ago. Confirmation of what I just said. John Lacey pulled a hamstring. Free kick against Young, for which the boos may be just slightly more than are justified. Five to run in. One of them is Archibald. They all left it, and in fact, it was McAllister at the back, but straight into the body of Pat Jennings. But defenders then turned to look to see where it had gone and who was coming in. Arsenal lucky to survive. Galvin. Archibald and Walford. Huddle, Archibald is offside. Oh, they hit it well enough. But the moment the ball went to Huddle, all Walford had to do was to step forward, and Archibald was bound to be offside. Walford. Archibald. He and Huddle leaving it each to the other. And getting brought down by a combination of the two. There's Ricks. McDermott at the back. There was a moment then when Danes couldn't have been too happy about his positioning, but he stretched enough, although had to concede the corner. Steve Walford has come right in the box. Young there already. Devine just outside. And another corner. And in fact, as Young runs away, and the referee for a second appeared to be in chase, it's Tottenham's kick. Arsenal certainly thought it was another corner, and I must say so did I. On by Yorath. Oh dear, what was Young trying to do? Well, there was nothing vicious about that, but didn't seem to have any idea really where the ball was coming from. Just took a swing. Marble puts it forward about a quarter of a yard. Nodded down for Archibald. And he was leaning back a bit after he got the nod down from Miller. And the result was that the ball went up. Stapleton pulled that very solidly. John Devine. And Yorath. Huddle coming from very deep. This side is Galvin, where he's been for a lot of the half. Drew two and didn't cross well. And it's the last cross of a half which has been rather workmanlike and in truth a little disappointing. The one goal scored by Steve Archibald, which spoiled the record of Pat Jennings. It's the first time he's allowed a Spurs player to beat him since he was transferred to Arsenal 3.5 years ago. An indication of how difficult the wind is out there. The two main flags at opposite ends of the ground are blowing in opposite directions. There's Young. And Terry Yorath. Here's Archibald. Crooks, a little bit unlucky. Met by Perryman. Here's Brook. Here's Devine. Stapleton. Hollins. It's Garvin who beats the other number 9. It's a mean try by young McDermott. even though he got the ooze. His first appearance in this derby match. On the Tottenham side, there are two players who are new to the atmosphere. And they are Roberts and Brook. Roberts there with McDermott. Harry Danes, who's looked pretty confident. Just one moment when I think he lost his positioning a bit in the first half. Huddle. Collins. Did well to balance himself and find Stapleton. McDermott up as well. And there's Gatting blocked on the line, and Europe managed to push it away. Good play by Frank Stapleton. He held it up, pulled it back. It was Gatting who had a stab. Two players on the line with their backs to the ball, and the ball came off one of them. And Terry Yorath managed to get the stab in first to put it out for the corner. Came off Walford. Out by McAllister. Collins. It's Graham Ricks on the right side. And a very timely stretch by Terry Yorath, just away from McDermott. Arsenal supporters crying lucky Tottenham. And in that instant they have a case. Ricks. Stapleton. Archibald. Brooks. Once again, Arsenal with three forward. Hollins making it four. Well found by Sunderland. Stapleton, Sunderland. Kicked away by Barry Danes. But another lovely turn by Alan Sunderland. And Danes got it away with his left leg. Young just outside the 6-yard box, now going into it. It's a very crowded area. Young got a touch, so did McDermott. But his turned it wide. It was a good flick by Young. And McDermott's really needed to go a little bit the other way, and I think Danes would have been struggling. Huddle. The match getting markedly more interesting. It's a fair ball. Well, they got held up in the wind and fell kindly for Hollins instead of going to Crooks. McDermott. He's done well, there's Stapleton. And Stapleton's action suggesting his disappointment, because that was a good cross. Tottenham seem to have given it up, and the ball curled back. And Stapleton on song would have put that one away. Brook. Crooks. Young. Sunderland. And Young has gone into the middle. Stapleton well out of it. And there's McDermott. His chest took it too far away. And finally off Yorith. I don't think he knew too much about it. McDermott a little unlucky then. It came so sharply off his chest, it denied him the chance of a shot. Once again, Arsenal with 5 players in the 6-yard box. Huddle who got it away. Ricks' curler. Stapleton, fine save! Really a brilliant save that was by Barry Daines. That would have done credit to the man at the other end. Because Stapleton met that with full meat, knocked it down, and Daines held it with his right hand. Brook. This is Rex. Yorith. McAllister. Hollins. Young. McDermott. Didn't want to take the responsibility, it seemed, but a free kick has been given against Huddle. Once again, Mr. Chapter taking possession of the ball. And he's got the walls back well. It's been a good match, the referee. It's now absolutely sheeting down with rain and blowing into Barry Daines' face. Ricks on the ball. And it comes to Hollins. And he makes another one. Well struck by John Hollins as Gatting made the dummy run. And Ricks played it out. And the referee wants the kick taken again. Even so, Barry Daines did a very good job. Just look at the conditions. Well, there's no Gatting there this time, but Hollins is still poised. And hits it again, but not as well. And I must say, at the risk of criticising a referee who's had a good game, I doubt very much whether the two players who attacked the ball were on the right side of the law. Terry Neal, the right of the two as we looked, on how further over to the right. Left a la Matador by Stapleton. Good tackle by Perryman. It's a corner. Steve Walford's come on the near post. Young is just outside the 6-yard box. Straight to Galvin. Now Hoddle. Crooks down the middle. Archibald out to the right. It's got to be Archibald. And he's offside. It will not count. It's Kenny Sanson who came back, made a despairing effort, not knowing the whistle had already gone. It looked the right ball, but Archibald had judged to have gone just too soon. Crooks. Yorith. Galvin. Crooks threatening to move into the middle and now does. Gatting got there first. Huddle. finds Yorith. And a miskick by Devine. And Archibald gets a second. So it means that Tottenham have reversed completely the scoreline at Highbury in August. Devine just not making the touchback. And Archibald, who got a really good goal in the first half, gets a gift right at the end of the second. His day is made, and so is that of the Tottenham supporters, who have had to wait since October 1974 for a victory against the enemy here. Offside against Crooks. And just listen to the cheers. It matters almost as much as winning the cup. Archibald, the man who got the goals, his 18th and 19th of the season. Pat Jennings, the old hero who came here, finally beaten. And on this particular afternoon, Barry Daines, waving to the crowd, makes a save he'll remember for a long time. To be truthful, had Stapleton scored with a header, it might have been asked, why didn't Daines come off his line? But he made the decision to stay, and he made a brilliant save, and Tottenham afterwards went away to get the second goal and wipe out what happened at Highbury in August and what has happened for far too long for Spurs supporters.
Well, you've seen there that Terry Neal's doubts about Garth Crooks being offside for Spurs' first goal were just not justified. Well, on a wider issue, I found myself concentrating on the performances of two young players, Graham Rix and Glenn Hoddle, who, because of their obvious flair, many people would like to see given extended runs in the England team. And there are perhaps justifiable reasons why this hasn't happened. They both must strive for more consistent performances in the First Division. They had been given, as is customary in the midfield jungle these days, the primary task of shadowing, pressurising and frustrating each other. To take Graham Rix first, John Hollin's block shot looped slowly back to him and he pounded it back up front hopefully, but inaccurately, when you can see there was a colleague perfectly placed and possession was thrown away needlessly and to no purpose. And Graham is renowned as a superb striker of the ball, but even when he has time, as in this case, he's liable to be wild with a pass for no apparent reason. An occasional lapse is unavoidable, but if a player aims to be the very best, he must set opponents more problems than Barry Daines had there. The best players shouldn't lose clear-cut possession for no reason. Steve Walford breaks out of defence with purpose, but when a lucky bounce brings the moment of truth for Rix, he hesitates and allows Crooks to make up yards to dispossess him, with the help of a push at the same time. Mind you, I was left in no doubt about the sweetness of his left foot when he lofted and faded this through ball over the defence, rather like Jack Nicklaus at his very, very best, and he provided Brian McDermott with an invitation to cross that was irresistible. But there were times when he was thinking ahead of the rest of the players in the field too. This was one of them. He'd seen Sunderland poised to go, lob the ball over the defence to join his run. But Barry Daines had seen it too and just destroyed the excitement in the nick of time for Spurs. Now, Glenn Hoddle's game wasn't dissimilar. And when Terry Yorith found him wide on the right, he positioned himself nimbly. But for a player of his ability, made such a mess of the attempt to find Don McAllister. I also was looking for something more for him in this break late in the game, when despite the spare players available to him, he allowed the defenders to dictate what he should do. I would have liked the ball to go through to Crooks, that beautiful run on the left at that moment, but in the end they delayed him enough and dictated enough to catch Archibald offside. But as with Rix, there's no denying his spectacular vision and touch. And when it all works, as it did for Spurs' first goal, the most adroit first-time pass was sheer delight. And as it happened, the combination of England and Scotland provided the best moment of the game. What I'm saying in a nutshell is that to be regular England players of the future, week by week, they must not allow moves to break down on them so often and add consistency to their undoubted flair. Very young Gary Brooke and quite old John Hollins gave both of them yesterday a lesson in that. Bob.
Well, Arsenal's defeat sees them slip to 5th in the table, a point behind West Bromwich Albion, who won against Brighton. Villa and Liverpool both made ground on leaders Ipswich by winning away from home. It's no secret that Arsenal's manager, Terry Neal, has been looking to strengthen his squad, with Danish international Frank Arnesen of Ajax one of the targets. But we understand the former Ajax player, the incomparable Johan Cruyff, is the man Arsenal would really love to sign. Although Cruyff is now 33, he showed last Wednesday when playing in a friendly game against Chelsea that he's lost none of the old magic. Terry Neal was at that game and he had a brief word with the Dutchman, renewing an acquaintance begun 12 years ago. Cruyff has personal reasons for not returning to play in Spain, as rumoured, and he's expressed his interest in playing in the Football League. What a boost that would be to crowds. Perhaps the most surprising transfer news around at the moment is David Armstrong's request for a move from Middlesbrough. Surprising because David has always been considered one of the most loyal of footballers. In fact, when he missed 2 games in September, it ended a run of 356 consecutive first-team appearances. Armstrong also has 1 full England cap, and amongst the clubs believed to have been interested in him earlier this season were Leeds and Ipswich. Our reading of the situation, however, is that 26-year-old David, who has a year of his contract to run, would like to stay in the North East, which suggests Sunderland as the most likely club for him to join should he leave Ayresome Park.
And when Steve Archibald was transferred from Aberdeen to Tottenham, Aberdeen manager Alec Ferguson stated that Steve was the best player to come out of Scotland since Kenny Dalglish. Well, at the time, some may have thought that it was just a piece of slick salesmanship. But with yesterday's perfectly taken first goal, part of a brace which brought Archibald's total to 19 this season, we're beginning to accept that it might have been for real. Good afternoon to you.
This is Brooke and Hoddle and Archibald